These are Fry's worst ever moments in Futurama. He is seen as the good guy, but these episodes might change your view on the hero we all know him to be. Kicking things off with Fry exposing the love of his life in Attack of the Killer app. The very first scene of the episode has the crew watching a commercial about a new invention called the iPhone, created by none other than the notorious villain Mom. After the crew watches the advertisement, they throw away their perfectly working devices to buy the new phone. I wonder where they got this idea.
Come on, let's buy some iPhones online.
So they end up waiting in line, which takes forever until finally reaching the store. Upon entering, they are greeted by Mom, who says the iPhones are short in supply, causing everyone, including Fry, to hurry towards the register.
Are there any left? There may be one.
Yeah, definitely short in supply. After asking why it is called an iPhone, the worker painfully forces it into his eye. And this is a scene I will never watch again, thank you very much. Just before Fry and the others leave, Mom explains her favorite app called Twitcher, explaining how you can send and receive messages called twits. They return back at Planet Express as they mess around with their new phones. Fry gets a phone call from Leela and questions her on whether or not it is safe to pilot a ship and talk at the same time. Right after, she crashes into the building, landing on the table. Bender manages to get it all on camera just before twitting it to his 10,000 followers, which in turn reminds Fry to twit as well. After posting, we watch as Mom explain the importance of collecting everyone's personal data, to be used for exploitation of course, which leads to her sending the crew various marketing advertisements to make even more money. Continuing on, Bender says he has 50,000 followers now, causing Fry to become very jealous. Bender illustrates his strategy by showing what he posts, including a short clip of Fry doing karate in his underpants.
Since when is the internet about robbing people of their privacy?
That is not going to age well. Fry makes a bet with Bender to see who can get 1 million followers first, and of course, he agrees. They decide the punishment for losing will include jumping into a tub filled with alien goat vomit. What a terrific idea. The contest begins with Bender creating another viral twit, while on the other hand, Fry is struggling to hold followers. After copying Fry's video idea with the help of Amy, his followers skyrocket. We cut to the vomit pool as Fry regrets competing against Bender. Leela and Amy tell him never give up, right before they hear a little voice singing. Leela rushes out of her seat and we see Fry follow her into the woman's bathroom. That honestly doesn't surprise me in the slightest. He walks in on Leela as she reveals a singing head on her butt. Fry screams, alerting Leela. She gets embarrassed by what's on her butt and begins to cry.
Sing, Grace! Oh, God!
As Fry watches the recording back, Leela tells him to delete it right away. Just before that, he watches as Bender spices up the tub.
So much for a pleasant swim and vomit.
Changing his mind as he secretly hits send. I'm still not surprised. Later on, Leela finds the whole crew watching the viral video Fry said he deleted. Leela starts crying as she runs away out to the city where everyone is laughing at her. She even tries to disguise herself, but unfortunately gets caught by the paparazzi. We move along to see who won the competition between Bender and Fry, only to find out it ended in a tie. The next morning, Leela confronts the people making fun of her, only to realize they are laughing at a different viral video someone has made. They even say they don't even know who she is. After that, Leela finds Fry sitting on the side of the road regretting his decisions. Instead of asking for an apology though, she thanks him for telling everyone her secret because no one ended up caring anyway. They hug it out until Fry says he could never make it up to her, so he did the next best thing, which was to record himself jumping off of a diving board and into the tub. Something doesn't sit right with how Leela forgave him, but maybe that's why Fry likes her so much. That is definitely not the case in the next episode called Roswell That Ends Well, where Fry is seen making love to someone very, very close to him. I have a lot of questions for the writers about this one. The story begins as the crew travels to a faraway supernova, waiting eagerly for it to explode. Bender asks Fry to make popcorn while they wait, so he heads to the kitchen and decides it is a good idea to put metal in the microwave, causing it to spark and spread blue all across the ship. Layla calls for Fry as the supernova explodes, turning the whole room red. As the colors collide with one another, they get blipped and teleported through a wormhole. The date starts to rewind backward in time until they finally emerge back into space. Without knowing they traveled in time, the crew heads back to Earth where they lose control over their spaceship. After putting their seatbelts on, excluding Bender, they crash into a hill as we watch Bender fly out of the ship and land on the ground where his body is in pieces. Zoidberg is seen picking up all of Bender's body parts until midnight, when the government captures him. As the generals examine parts of Bender, Professor Farnsworth discovers they traveled back in time to July 9th, 1947. Leela runs in with news about Bender's body and Zoidberg being captured. Farnsworth explains how they only have 24 hours until the time hole closes, trapping them all in the past, and the only way they will get back is by getting another microwave. As Leela asks Farnsworth to help her find a microwave, she tells Fry to sneak onto the army base to rescue their friends. Fry gets excited, explaining how he will see his grandfather Enos, who is stationed at the same army base. Farnsworth warns Fry he should not go looking for his grandfather in case of creating another anomaly in time, and also points out that if his grandfather is killed, Fry will cease to exist. Knowing Fry, he's definitely going to mess this up. Fry somehow manages to sneak into the base until he finds his grandfather. Worried about his existence, Fry protects his grandfather, leading him into a minefield and bombing range, until arriving in a town where they stop for a milkshake. Enos points out his fiancée working in the restaurant, saying how sometimes it feels like he has to go with girls because he's supposed to. Fry freaks out, saying he just needs to focus on staying alive. Right before chopping off his, family jewels, they run out of the restaurant to go somewhere that is more safe. I don't know about you, but I have a feeling that this is not going to be a safe place.
Okay, we're in the middle of nowhere, which is the safest part of nowhere. Just stay put and enjoy this calendar.
Fry and Bender leave him alone, and this is when we see where he really took his grandfather. Before we know it, the house explodes, taking his grandfather's life as they drive away until realizing what he has just done. Good one, Fry. You somehow managed to put your grandfather in the most dangerous situations trying to protect him. Fry meets back up at the restaurant with Leela and Farnsworth, explaining what just happened. His grandmother gets a phone call about the death of Enos, and Fry tries to comfort her. She says he reminds her of Enos, asking him to take her home. They arrive back at her place where she ends up crying to Fry, getting up close and personal with him. He tries to step away from her until she pops her top. He realizes if he did kill his grandfather, he wouldn't exist, leading them to do some unspeakable things. The next morning, Fry gets woken up by his crew standing outside the window, explaining how the women he slept with can't be his grandmother. Turning around, he sees who he really slept with. Fry asks who he is to his grandmother now, and Farnsworth explains that he is his grandfather. The writers really know how to make the viewers suffer with this one. Speaking of suffering, in the episode the series has landed, Fry tortures Leela on an exploration to the moon. The crew gathers all their belongings as they prepare their next delivery. Fry gets excited as Leela says they will deliver the package to the moon since he's never been there before. As they initiate takeoff, they arrive rather quickly to the moon, landing inside a dome-shaped building. Fry runs outside without any protection, of course, and notices an amusement park. He is fascinated with what life is like in the future since he is from the past. He walks back to the ship and explains to Amy how they landed a park on the surface of the moon. With excitement, they try and leave the ship to go have fun until they run into Leela. She tells them they must complete their job and deliver the package, and only then will they have time to enjoy themselves at the park. Amy and Fry prepare the package, and we watch as Amy loses the keys in the crate without realizing it. This looks like a bad situation, but it becomes helpful later in the episode, surprisingly. After the package is delivered, the crew walks around the park, looking at all the attractions. Fry brings Leela along on a car ride that explains the history of the moon landing, but he is disappointed with how fake everything seems. With some clever convincing, Fry somehow convinces Leela to explore the surface of the moon with him, outside of the park. He breaks off the track and drives past the walls. At the same time, Bender and Amy realize the key is stuck inside one of the games. Bender gets caught by the staff trying to get the keys out of the machine and gets kicked out of the park and onto the surface of the moon. We cut back to Fry and Leela driving around until crashing down a crater, putting not only his life but Leela's life in danger as well. All hope seems lost until Leela uses their oxygen tanks to fly out, rescuing Fry.